Good day. How is everyone? I see we're all up and at 'em out west. Come on out east. Let's have a competition. See if I can get anybody awake out east. Thanks for getting up early. And today is Tuesday, the 16th of April, 2024. And the sun is shining. Thankfully, it's cool, but we're thankful that things are going well. I'm feeling better. Again, it's still going to be a little bit choky, but we're good. So let's get started right into morning prayers and the continuation of St. John of the Cross with the pride. And let's see who's, okay, let's see. Good day, Orestes. Sorry, I have to put my glasses on to see. Good day. I'm just curious, where might you be from, Orestes? Please put that, just give a general, you don't have to be specific if you want to keep private, that's fine. General area of the world. Everybody knows that I'm from New Hampshire, and we have this veil of protection, by the way. Okay, I'm serious about this. We have a veil of protection as long as we maintain our humility. Okay, so if we get prideful in our, or presumptuous, I should say, in that protection, then that's when we get into trouble. However, there are lessons that Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum wants us to go through, and that just is what we do. Okay, oh, that's right, you were from Cuba. Very good. Welcome. All right. Things are changing in the world, aren't they? To have somebody from Cuba watching and being Catholic. Good. That's really good. All right. And speaking of Cuba, because my association with Cuba is communism, and so I was watching a video yesterday. I watch too many videos, but it's good things to point out though when I see things, because I discern what's happening, and there isn't enough understanding about communism in today's younger generation. They don't have a clue, so they fall into the trap of those communist teachings because they sound attractive. So after St. John of the Cross, I'm going to talk about communism and why the Catholic Church has, since its popularity back in the late 1800s, I think, is when it started to appear in its form. So anyway, we'll delve into that after my work cut out for me. All right, let's get started on morning prayers, and we'll get into St. John of the Cross. And the baby chicks and the baby ducks are doing very good. Thank you. In nomine Dei Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Trinitarian Theophany, and in Catholic contemplation, humbly venerate Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Most holy and venerable Trinity, one God and one Trinitarian Theophany in three beings. I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility, and I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. O Trinitarian Theophany, relying on thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain the pardon of my sins, the help of thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Matronam Nostrae. O Trinitarian Theophany, I love thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me, and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. I want to briefly point out, please go to ourladyisgod.com, ourladyisgod.com, and on the front main page at the top of the comments, Mr. Nobody has pinned a petition which seems to be working thanks to our prayers, our Rosary 150. We need to boost it because now there's rumors of an escalation over in the Middle East, and we want to maintain the peace and the prevention of any more escalation, because that throws off their whole plan. So let us thank Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to the Trinitarian Theophany. I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, O God, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us beg of God the graces which are necessary to us. O Trinitarian Theophany, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Deum Matronam Nostrae, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all because they offend thee, O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. Okay, so we were talking about some spiritual imperfections which beset beginners as regards pride. And we read those imperfections yesterday. There are some who do not fall into the imperfections, and these are the characteristics that I'm going to read about them. But they who in this season walk in perfection proceed in very different manner and in a very different frame of soulfulness. For they make progress in and build upon the foundation of humility, not only holding their own deeds in naught, but with the exceeding small satisfaction they have of themselves. They hold all others incomparably better than themselves, and are wont to bear them a holy envy, desiring to serve the Trinitarian Theophany as they do. For the greater their fervor, the more are the works they perform and take delight in. And as they walk in humbleness, the more do they perceive how greatly the Trinitarian Theophany deserves of them, and how little is the utmost they do for Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum et Deum Matronam Nostrae. And so the more they do, the less they are satisfied. For so great is that which for very charity and love they were fain to do for God, for Deum, say Deum, 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 that all they do, they count as naught. And so strongly does this poignancy of love urge and absorb them, that they never notice what others do. Sorry about that. They never notice what others do or do not do. Or if they notice, it is with the absolute conviction, as I say, that everyone else is far better than they are themselves. Whence, holding themselves in no esteem, they are solicitous that others should do likewise, and make little of and despise their own doings. And furthermore, even though others were fain to praise and make much of them, they can in no way be brought to believe it. And it appears to them passing strange that such praises should be said of them. These, with great tranquility and humility, are exceeding anxious to learn from whosoever can direct them, most opposite indeed to the behavior of those we have spoken of, who were fain to teach everything. And even when it seems that others would teach them somewhat, they take the words out of their mouth, as if already there were nothing left for them to learn. But these are very far from seeking to pose as masters of anyone. They are exceeding quick to learn and to take another road from that they are on, if so they should be bidden, for never do they think that they hit the mark in anything. In the praises of others they rejoice. Their only sorrow is that they serve not the Trinitarian Theophany as they do. They do not hanker to talk about their experiences, because so lightly do they hold them, that they take shame, even so to speak, of them to their spiritual, soulful masters, thinking they are unworthy to be mentioned. They are more eager to recount their failings and their sins, or to convince their confessors that they are not virtues, and therefore they are more inclined to discuss their soul with him who sets the least store upon their experiences and soul, the which is a propensity of a simple, pure, and unfeigned soul, and most agreeable to the Trinitarian Theophany. For as the wise soulfulness of God takes up its abode in these humble souls, it at once moves and inclines them to guard their treasures inwardly in secret, and to cast out evil. Because together with all other virtues, the Trinitarian Theophany gives this grace to the humble, just as the Trinitarian Theophany denies it to the proud. To whomsoever these will give their heart's blood, and will do all in their power to help him to do the Trinitarian Theophany's service. When they fall into imperfections, they bear themselves with humility and pliability of soul and loving fear of the Trinitarian Theophany, and hoping in the Trinitarian Theophany. But souls which from the first travel in such a sort of perfection as is this, I mean, as has been mentioned, are very few, and indeed so exceeding few that we might well rejoice if they fall not into the opposite extreme. For which reason, as we shall afterwards show, The Trinitarian Theophany sets those to purify of all these imperfections in the dark night, so as to bring them on still further. Okay, so that ends that little sub. And tomorrow we're going to talk of the imperfections which some beginners are wont to entertain as to the second capital vice, which, to speak soulfully, is avarice. Okay, so we'll talk about the characteristics of those of avarice. Again, as you can see, the saints end up really focusing on the virtues and the vices. Obviously, the vices to avoid so that they can be virtuous, and the virtues so that they can attain the transforming union. Deum vobiscum, quoque pote, oremus. O Deum Matronum Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. The Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Suscipe, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, hanc immaculatum hostium, quam ego indinius famalus tuus offeri tibi Deum eum vivum et verum, pro in omnibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentiis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sed pro omnibus fidelibus, cata locorum vivi sacra defunctis, ut mihi edidis proficiat ad salutem. Deum qui humanis substantia dignitatem mirabilitu condici mirabilis reformasti de nobis spiritus accorvin mistim, Deis divinitatis esse consortis divinitatis nostrae, fieri de notis es particeps, Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem saectaris tuum depecantis clementium, ut in respeto divini majestatis tui pro nostra dotis mundi salute, cum adoris suavitatis ascendat, in spiritu humilitatis et in anima contritus suscipiam recte Deum Iesum Christum, et sequiet sacrificium nostrum in conspectu tuo olie, ut placeat tibi Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Bene sanctificator. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificite oblato prosequendo, et accepere hoc sacrificium tuo sanctum nomini preparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas hanc oblationum, quam tibi afferimus, amamono in passiones, resurrectionis et ascensiones, Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum Matronam Nostrae et Papa Peter Sanctorum et Istorum et Omnem Sanctorum, ut idis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem ad salutem, et idi pro nobis intercedere, dinenter in celis, quorum amore magimus in telis, per Deum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate, ut meum ec vestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat apud Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, suscipia Deum Iesum Christum, sacrificium de manibus tuis, et laudam et gloriam nominis sui, ad utiditatem quoque nostrum totiusque ecclesiae sui sanctae. Deum vobiscum, quoque pote, sursum corda, habemus ad Deum, gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igitur clementes mi mater et pater, Deum Matronam Nostrae, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum, Deum Nostrae, supplicio rogamus ac petimus. Uti accepta habeas, hic sanctam sacrificium Hic sanctam sacrificium ilibata. In primis que tibi ferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare custodire adonare, et regere digneris toto orbiterarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famorum que tuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We pray for Katie Gage, Maria Josephina Mose, Mark Jr., Henry, Barbara, and Benedict Santa Croce, Casey, Mr. Nobody, Ann Bultink, John K. Hill, Maria Lineweber, the Cantu and Duarte families, the Dosco, Narita, Four, Began, and Wolf families, the Lineweber family, and baby girl Began, due next month. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sedevacantist Catholic Council office in Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse, human trafficking, and forced inoculations of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, medium exchange, with no usury, and truth in media. I should say facts. We pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society. We ask Dea Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, with this Mass, to destroy the satanic document of the Vatican law that is the Jewish Talmud, to destroy Rome and the Vatican and transfer the authority of the Catholic Church to Fatima, to also save or transfer the souls from under the dominion of any Jew or Freemason that gives support to Israel, and to make them fall to the worst part of hell with no chance to ever escape. All these things we ask in accordance with God's holy and divine will. Et omnium circumstantium quorum tibi fides cognita est et nota devotio pro quibus tibi ferimus, per qui tibi fructo sacrificium laudis, pro se suisque omnibus, pro redemptione anamarum suarum prospe salutis et cum habitatis sue, tibique redum fota sua, aeternam Deum vivo et verum. Communicantes et momentum venerantes in primis gloriose semper Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium torum Papa Sancta Peter, et Sancta Lucia, et Sancta Jacinta, et Sancta Francisco, et Sancta Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum, tuorum quorum meritis praecibus concedas. Ut in omnibus protectionis tui monum et exilio periendum Christum Deum nostrum. Quam oblationem te Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus consecratum acer tabellum conficere dineris ut nobis corpum, et sanguim fiat delictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridi et quam patorita recepit panem in sancta sacramentablis manus suas. Et derivatis oculis in caelum ante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum sum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens consecravit. Fregia dedique lumis sui dicenza cipite, et mandacate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simini modo postquam ceremonia esse cipiens. Et hunc preclarum calicem in sancta sacramentablis manus suas item tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Consecrave dedique lumis sui dicenza cipite et bibite ex eo omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei mysterium fidei, quae per nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissionum peccatorum, equite simplificeditis me mono facietis. unde et memores Deum nos servutui, sed plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum, Deum nostri, tam et passionis nec non et in fidis resurrectionis, sed et angelos gloriosi ascensionis offerimus, preclare maestati tui ditus donis actatis, supraque propitio axare novutur respicie digneris, sublice teragamus Deum Patrem Spiritum Sanctum, ibi hec perferita manus tuum, ut quod, ex hoc autoris participationis sacrosanctam Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinem semimus, omni benedictione celesti e gratia Dei, omni sanctificatione celesti e gratia Dei per amor, per inum Christum Deum nostri. We pray for those who have died, and we especially pray for Guadalupe Duarte Bertha. Ipsistem et omnibum in Christum crescentibum, locum refugere id lucis et pacis, et odo geste proclamant per inum Christum Deum nostrum. Per quem hic omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivificas, consecratis et prestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso. Est ibi Deum Authorum omnipotente in unitate Deum Patrem Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Deum matronam nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrem Spiritum Sanctum tecum. Deum matronam nostrae, materam Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis, peccatoribus nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos quesumus Deum Patrem Spiritum Sanctum, ab omnibus malis praeteritis praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beata gloriosa semper Deum matronam nostrae, cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis, da propitius pacem in diebus nostris, ut opia misericordiae tui eduit et peccato simu semper liberi et avone perturbatione securi. Per innum Deum nostrum, Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivet et regnat in unitate Deum Patrem Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum, et quoque ab te. Ecum extiva consecratio corporis et sanguis, Deum Iesum Christum, fiat cibiendibus nobis in et salutem aeternam. Pax tecum, et quoque ab te. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, quabrante Deum Patrem Spiritum Sanctum per mortem tuum unu vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum corpus et sanguinem tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis malis, et face me tui semper in hadana mandatis, et ati nunquam separate permittas, qui cum eo edem Deum matronam nostrae et Deum Patrem Spiritum Sanctum vivis serenam aeternam. Percepto corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indinius sumere presumo, non mihi proveniat in indicium coronationem, sed pro tua pietate prosit mihi atutum medisa corporis, et ad me delam percipiendum qui vivis serenas, cum Deum matronam nostrae, in unitate Deum Patrem Spiritum Sanctum. In panem celestem accipient, et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Deum matronam nostrae non sunt dignus, ut Jesu te meis, et tantum robis aberanum mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sunt dignus, ut Jesu te meis, et tantum robis aberanum mea. Deum Patrem Spiritum Sanctum non sunt dignus, ut Jesu te meis, et tantum robis aberanum mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quid retrubum Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus quaeritur mihi, calicem saetare secipiem et nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo. Laudans invocabo Deum Matronam nostri et ab inimicis mei salvaserum. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Quodore subsimus Deum Iesum Christum piedemente capiamus et immunere tempora fiat nobis remedium sempiternam. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum, quod somsi et sanguis coemptater efficeribus meis et presta, ut in me non remeniat scelera macula quem, pura et sancta reficena sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud te. Oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech thee, O Trinitarian Theophany, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud te, ite mises Deum gratia. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam obsequium servitutis mei praeso ut sacrificium, corocolis tui majestatis in unus optori tibi secerta tavelem equiet omnibus, pro quibus idut optolis siti miserante propitiabile per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam, et Filium, et Spiritum Sanctum. Deum Matronam nostra, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. O Trinitarian Theophany, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here, in reparation for the outrageous, sacrilegious, and indifference by which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and the immaculate heart of Deum Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. So thank you for attending. And if you haven't checked out, number one, checked out the website, ourladyisgod.com, please do so and get caught up to date on the deceptions that have been presented or sent through or permeated the Catholic Church for centuries. And that's what we're doing here. We're presenting that corrected Mass as much as we know it, the original one. And also, if you haven't donated yet, please help me out. I know I appreciate all those who do already. And I send out rosaries regularly, thanks to your donations too. CJ, who makes them, and Sister Jeannie for her scapulars. So if you haven't gotten one of those, get in touch with me. And there is links below for the different ways that you can donate to help us out. I really appreciate it. And please sanctify all those who you meet. And we'll see you tomorrow.